Hey, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat's brought to you by Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia, at the corner of 8th and Broad and the bottom of the Lamar Building. Such a great place. Jeremy and the gang make you feel like you're at home the first time and every time. Such great food, great people, great drinks. Such a great place. It's going to be Joe's Underground at the corner of 8th and Broad in Augusta, Georgia, and the bottom of the Lamar Building. I goes to Joe's, and so should you. Today, my guest is Dr. Jimmy Star. That's right, Jimmy is the host of the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Such a great show. Everybody has such a good time on there. They interview everybody, you know. They've gone from rockers to actors to you name it. They've got Maxim models. Just so eclectic, and him and Ron just, you can tell they just have so much fun, and I love listening to them. He's also one of the best PR guys in the business. You won't find many better if you do find any better. That's right. So today we're going to get this beast kicked off. Let's go on ahead and listen to some smoked meat. So how the hell are you today, Jimmy?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Oh, man, if I was any better, I would be twins. I would be twins, man.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this episode. You know, I've been listening to you and Ron, and y'all kill me. Y'all are so great together.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun, and letting everybody know what we are. We're the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. There you go.
Oh yeah. And
yeah.
Yeah, and I know. I've seen you on YouTube. I've heard you on my podcasts, and man, I'm gonna post all your links in my show notes just so everybody else out there can go there and go, holy crap, this is awesome.
Thank you so much. We try to have a good time. You know, we've been doing it a long time. Ron's been on the show with me for 9 years, and I had the show for 3 years before that. So I was one of the, more in the beginnings of all the whole streaming and podcasting thing, because I've been on for going on my 13th year, actually.
Okay, so you may know what you're doing.
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea of what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I was doing a little bit of homework on you, of course, Wikipedia and IMDb and all that good stuff, and of course your website. And it's Jimmy Star's World. And
.com.
Yeah, .com. Thank you. .com.
Yes.
And you've done a little bit of everything, and have been really good at everything you've done. That's the neat part.
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate. I do. I'm involved in all different aspects of the entertainment industry. So it's not all. As long as it's in entertainment, I'm pretty well rounded, and I know how to do it. But I've done everything. I act, I produce, I direct. I've done costume design. I'm an author. I'm a world-renowned publicist. My podcast is popular. I was a celebrity. I got into entertainment as a celebrity clothing designer. I did the clothing design for like Too Fast, Too Furious, a bunch of indie horror films and stuff like that. So I've been pretty fortunate, and I'm also a blogger, and my website's number 50 of the top 100 entertainment sites in the world.
Ooh, outstanding. Well, I know I've been looking through it. I mean, just the people that you've dealt with over the years just blows my mind. I'm coming up on my 100th episode, and I haven't scratched the surface, And
that's one good thing, though, is that getting into this now, this is definitely the wave of the future. I get this thing called podcast news. It's like an email I get every day. And they said now that there's, I think, 1,250,000 podcasts now. And it went up like 500,000 podcasts since the coronavirus or something like that. And so this is definitely like the wave of the future and the way things are going to be. And so if you can establish yourself and make a name for yourself in it, I think a lot of doors can open up for you.
I think so. I've seen myself grow, over the last several months. I mean, I've just grown exponentially, and it's really cool. And even before the corona hit, and I'm looking forward, for this thing to going away, because I'm sick of the Rona. And two, people aren't driving and, commuting to work as much as they were. So when everybody's in their car, I know that's where I listen to a lot of my podcasts. I'm just excited to see the growth that's going to hit then.
Well, I think it will. You know, you have to identify with your listening base, and you know, figure out what makes you a little bit different than everybody else, and just get it out there and promote the shit out of it.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know. Am I allowed to say shit?
man, you can even drop f-bombs on this show, man. I have
Yeah,
no.
we can do that too.
My only rules are politics and real big controversy. Everything else, fair game.
I like to do the same. I'm the same way. I think that's the best way to be. So good for you too. Congratulations on your 100 episodes.
Thank you very very much. I feel like I've grown a lot doing this. You know, my first interview was in my garage with a friend of mine who does comedy with me, and
Okay.
it was almost 2 hours long, and it was basically us talking, and we had a really good time. And then the few interviews I did right after that were more of the radio style interview, you know. And it was it if you'd been my third show, it would have been like, so Jimmy, tell me what's going on today, and all those canned questions. And fuck that, man. It don't work. It's canned. It's not real. People don't identify with that.
Yeah, we don't do that either on our show. We don't do. I mean, I do have like points of interest to bring up, but I don't write any questions.
Yeah, I mean, I make a couple of little notes here and there just to remind me, because you know my mind. I've got the mind of a 300-year-old man. You know, I forget what I had for breakfast.
So do I.
But yeah, is what it is. But I like
Yeah,
doing it where it's just two guys talking and just having a good time, because that's
me
what
too. I
people
think that's a
identify
good way
with.
to do it. Yeah, I think you're right. And people like it when it's like real and not like all rehearsed.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed during podcasts is, you know, I bring Howie Mandel up. He's one of my favorite comedians. You know, I've loved Howie for years, and when he's on a podcast, everybody asks him the same things. And it's almost like he could, like this new board I've got sound pads where I can hit a button and it makes a specific sound.
Okay.
It's like his interviews could be like that, because he tells, you know, has to answer the same questions every time. All he's really got to do, if he wanted to, is hit a button and it'll answer.
Yeah, which that's no fun.
Yeah, it's not a bit of
Nobody
fun.
wants to hear the same answer all the time.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I understand promoting what's going on, because I mean that's part of this. You know, we got to promote what's happening with everybody, so everybody knows we're sharing with people. But you know, Fred Schneider from the B-52s kind of hit it best with me, and it caught me off guard, but it was awesome because you know Fred, he's such a great guy. He's so nice.
Yes.
And when I interviewed him, I had about 3 pages worth of notes written. I mean, I've grew up loving the B-52s, you know. And the first question I asked him about them, he said, "That's 40 years worth of history. They can read that in the book. Let's talk about what's happening now." And I'm like, oh shit, this has just gone south. But it turned out to be a really good show, because it made me think and it made me understand, okay, people do know about this already. They've heard this 100 times. Why do we want to hear how Rock Lobster was written? It's in the book.
Right. No, you're right. He's a great guy too. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he is so wonderful. I had a blast with him. But
Actually, and that's a pretty for a podcaster who. Well, I mean, 100 episode. How often do you put out an episode?
well, I'm recording, I think, 16 this week. But at first I would just drop them as soon as I recorded one. I would edit real quick and boom, I could put out 4 or 5 a day. And I finally got the discipline and realization now I don't need to do that, because 2 or 3 get missed if I do that. So now I'm scheduling them.
If you put them out too fast, I mean, that's why our show is only once a week.
Yeah.
You know, we do one a week. You know, that gives you time to promote the episode, get people to tune in and listen to it, get your social media stuff like all organized, and so we only do one a week. And getting Fred Schneider, you know, for someone who, I mean, 100 shows is a pretty lot of shows, but you're getting some pretty good guests. And, you know, I got good guests right off the bat too. That's one reason why I started the show, is because I was a celebrity clothing designer. I had dressed a lot of famous people. So I had access to a lot of big name people for shows. I mean, that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah.
But getting those big guests, you know, that's something that you know a lot of other people can't get, and so that automatically puts you on a different level playing field.
Yeah, and you know it's really cool for me because I've started what I call my wall of fame. Whenever I talk to
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I try and get them to send me an autograph picture or something like that for my wall. And it's growing quickly. And it's really cool because not even a year ago, if you told me I would be talking to Fred or Kenny Olson or Kenny Aronoff, any of these people, I'd have laughed at you. I'm like, yeah, they don't want to talk to me. And not only have I talked to them, I've made friends with them.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Yeah.
I love both of them. They're both really good friends of mine too.
Yeah. I'm actually about to do here shortly a giveaway with Kenny's cookbook. The
Oh,
Rockin'
that's
Recipes
cool.
for Autism.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of friends who I've encouraged to help me do the same thing. So we're going to do this.
That's very, very cool. It's a great book, and it's for a great cause.
Yeah. Have you tried the wasabi crusted salmon out of that book yet?
I haven't tried anything out of that book yet, but I've read through the book. I'm
Mm.
not really much of a cook, um, but I'm very good friends with Kenny. He's a great guy, and I actually had him on my show also, and we had a really, really good time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one neat thing about some of the recipes in the book. They're really easy. So that's one of my goals now. I've got to get Jimmy Star cooking.
There we go.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Ron would appreciate it now.
Yeah, Ron does all the cooking.
Oh man.
Ron does all the cooking. I do the cleaning up, and Ron does the cooking.
Okay, well that's a good arrangement. I can live with that.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
works.
So
Yeah, it totally works.
you're so happy that I can live with that, huh? You feel better now,
Yes.
don't you? But yeah, I had Ron a couple of weeks ago. And man, he is belt fed, isn't he? He is
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely.
He is
Absolutely.
he is so funny and he's so smart. You think of funny people, and it's not that you don't think of funny people as smart. You don't think of them as it's a different kind of smart. But he is awesome. I had such a good time with him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's lived in the world of Hollywood for his whole life, and so he knows a lot. He was friends with a lot of, like, really back when Hollywood really had stars. He was friends with a lot of the big stars of Hollywood, and he's had a very interesting life, and that seems to just keep getting better all the time.
Yeah, yeah, he's a trip. Now the publicist thing. I know
Mm-hmm.
working with you and Eileen some. The people y'all have gotten me in touch with and introduced me to. I mean, it's awesome. And y'all are very good at what you do. The people that you represented so far is just damn. And
Yeah, we're actually, I got named. We started the company in 2018, and within 6 months, I got named Best Entertainment Publicist in the United States. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I have a big social media following and access to a lot of things. And Eileen's a New York Times best-selling author. She's awesome, and we had 10 clients our first month when we announced that we were putting together the company, and we've just been growing it from there. And we work with a lot of big musicians, actors. We get new clients all the time, and if anybody's looking for a publicist, they can go to jimmystarsworld.com and hit the Worldstar PR tab and read about us, or they can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Jimmy Star. My email's in it if they have any questions.
outstanding. Well, man, we're gonna bounce all over this thing, by the way, because like I say, I have little notes, but sometimes we talk about what's on my page. Other times I just kind of ramble, and we just kind of go anywhere. I've had one episode where we actually went from music to Bigfoot.
There you go. I love Bigfoot.
Okay? You're a believer then, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't, since there's no way to really know. I can't say no, it's not. But I watch every B horror movie about Bigfoot that comes out, though. And Lance Henriksen's made a couple of them, and he's like my favorite actor. So I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, I love him. Have you seen Bobcat Goldthwait's Bigfoot movie?
I don't think so.
Oh man, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Willow Creek, And it's kind of a
Oh,
found footage thing, almost like Blair Witch. But these two people go out to Bluff Creek, California, where the most famous Bigfoot footage in the world was filmed.
oh, that's cool.
Oh man, it is so great. Horror movies don't really get me a lot, but this one, there's parts in it the hair on my arms just stands straight up. It
Oh,
is
there you
it
go.
is so awesome, and he did the Bigfoot sounds himself.
That's awesome. I absolutely love horror movies. That's like my favorite thing in the world. I've seen tons of them. I've dressed almost every major horror movie star. I've been in a bunch of horror movies. I just think it's freaking like awesome.
Yeah, it's a genre that people seem to either love or hate. But the cool part about it is most of them love it because there's so many different kinds. One the slasher movies don't get me, and the demon movies and the ghost movies don't get me because I ghost hunt also. The ones that scare me are the stuff that can really happen, like Outbreak, terrified me for years, and now we're living it. So
That's freaking cool.
yeah,
I like them all.
oh, I love every one of them. I love every. What's your number one go to if somebody was come to your door and say, okay, Jimmy, we got to pack you off to a deserted island right now for your own safety. You can bring one DVD. What
The
would your
Lost
horror
Boys.
DVD? Lost Boys?
The Lost Boys. Yeah, that's my favorite.
We are kindred spirits. I love it.
I was really good friends with Corey Haim. I know Corey Feldman. We've been in a couple movies together. Um, Actually, a whole bunch of the people that are in the film I've met or I'm friends with. Alex Winter, a whole bunch of them. So I absolutely love The Lost Boys.
Yeah,
And for my secular non-horror movie, I would take Pretty Woman because that's like my favorite movie. I've seen it like I don't know a couple of hundred times. I love it.
I can dig it. I can dig it, man. Something about Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, just they're both awesome in anything they do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love Julia Roberts, and so those would probably be my two go-to movies.
Yeah,
Even though I like all the horror movies because I'm basically I'm friends with Pinhead, Freddy Krueger, a bunch of people that have been killed in the Saw franchise.
hmm
Um, Actually, and like Ron makes horror movies, and we have a bunch of clients who make horror movies, and so I'm just a horror freak. Like I collect memorabilia. I collect superhero memorabilia and horror movie memorabilia. So I have like every action figure of anybody who's ever been on our show, which there's hundreds of them. Um, and then I have like a 6 foot Jason and a 7 foot werewolf and a 6 foot clown, and I have a 4 foot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and a 4 foot Batman and Darth Vader, and so like I have my office just filled with toys and pictures of me with celebrities all over the wall.
yeah,
That's kind of like my inspiration while I'm working is to look at all that stuff.
I was gonna say I need to come see your office because it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I have a good time.
Yeah, now I actually have two friends that I've talked to on here and done a show with that are doing a fan film. It's kind of takes off where Freddy versus Jason left off. And it's called Freddy versus Jason Dreamscapes. And
Oh, actually, I think I've heard of that. I think.
yeah, and it's going to be amazing. I actually talked to Blake last night, and he's given me a couple of things I can't really leak out yet, but a lot of big things coming. And Cody Huskins, he plays Jason in the movie. He actually builds Jason masks and
Oh, how cool is that?
does such a beautiful job with them. I mean, you can say I want one from part 7 from this scene, and you'll get that.
Oh yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, and it's just not the cheap painted. Okay, here's this a plastic mask. Let's paint this on here. Okay, let's put this in elastic straps. No, he uses really good stuff, and he takes a lot of time and effort in them, and he does really good. I'll actually put you in touch with him and Blake, or give you their numbers.
Yeah,
But
that stuff's totally fun. I have I like the Saw franchise a lot,
yeah,
and so Saw 3 they have this pink pig,
mm-hmm.
and the whole thing revolves around like the guy who's upset his kid gets killed, and all he has left is the kid's stuffed pink pig, and I actually have the pink pig
Oh man,
from it, and I have several cool props. I also have like an oxygen mask that's used in it, that Tobin Bell wears in it, and I don't know. I have a lot of cool collectible stuff. I have a lot of cool stuff that Clive Barker gave me and Malcolm McDowell gave me. So I have a really extensive, fun collection.
oh man. My only movie prop that I have isn't really a prop. It's my call sheet from Fled.
There you go.
But I've still got it after all these years. And that it was such a good movie. I was an extra in it. Was all I was, but I had a good time. I was a foot from Ken Jenkins in my scene. So, meh.
There you go.
And the one fatal flaw in the movie, they opened the same weekend as Independence Day opened. So
Yeah, that was a flaw.
yeah, that was a big one. But nobody knew that Independence Day was going to be what it was. I mean, that thing was huge. Which, I mean, they knew, but they didn't. And but it was such a good movie. I got to meet so many neat people on there, and that kind of got me to where I wanted to do more in the entertainment business. Lawrence Fishburne, Stephen Baldwin, Will Patton, Ken Jenkins. I mean, so many great people. And
Yeah, absolutely.
all of them would talk to us. We weren't just, okay, that's background. We don't need to deal with them. And that
That's
went a
nice
long
when
way.
they do that. That's nice when they do that.
It is. And, I've done a couple things with some independent filmmakers around Augusta. It's funny, every time I've been in a movie, I've been on an ambulance. So, but hey, it works. I serve a dual role. I can be background and I can be safety on the set. So it works.
Good. Got to have fun. You know what? That's the whole thing about life is you got to have fun no matter what's going on. It's life is short, and you have to try to do as many things as you can that you enjoy. To have a good time because fuck it, you got to have a good time.
Exactly. Never turn down a chance to do anything, anything legal. I'll put it like that. And still don't turn down some of the sketchy stuff. And, doing that, I've gotten so many neat opportunities. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm a paramedic. I've been in a couple of movies. I've been on radio, and now I've got my podcast, and just everything is just your journey. Have fun with it.
That's right.
Because to me, at the end of your life, you don't want to sit and look back. They say your life flashes before your eyes. Mine's flashed before my eyes once or twice, and man, it's a pretty cool movie.
Mine is too. I've had a lot of ups and downs, good and bad, but it's all good. You learn from the bad things. You persevere. Pick up your bootstraps and keep going. And hopefully the good outweighs the bad. You have a good time. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and hopefully they treat you back that way. And if not, then don't hang out with them and get away from them.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw one thing that impressed me a lot on your IMDb.
Okay.
You have been in the Marvel and DC universe.
Yeah, I have my own Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome, by the way, because I don't have one.
It's fun. You know what? A lot of those films, I'm just an extra, but I like it. And I basically go to meet clients for my PR firm, and just to meet people and network is pretty much why I do it, because you don't really make money doing it, not much.
Yeah. I think I made $50 for being in mine.
Yeah, so it's really something that I do for fun and to meet people, to network. I produce films, and that way I meet a lot of people to do it. When I lived in Florida, I was in every movie that was made in Florida, and I got all kinds of movie roles from it that were speaking roles in other movies just by being background, on TV series or movies that were being filmed there. Because a lot of times there's casting directors and there's actors and producers and all kinds of stuff that are working as extras looking for talent for their film. And so I got all kinds of actual roles by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you're in one of my favorite movies of all time, by the way.
Which is?
You're in the original Punisher.
Yeah.
To me, Tom Jane is the Punisher. John Bernthal does good, but Tom Jane is Frank Castle.
No, yeah. John Bernthal's a cool guy. I know him. I've met him twice, but the original Punisher is way better.
Yeah.
That's one of those Florida films.
Yeah. And I love it.
You gotta have fun with all of it. You know what? Life, just gotta have fun with everything. I try to have fun with everything I do.
Yeah. Yeah. You was talking about Alex Winter a while ago on The Lost Boys.
Uh-huh.
How about his new thing coming out?
Bill and Ted.
Yes, man. I am pumped about some Bill and Ted Face the Music.
I'm hoping that it's going to be really good because like I love the first two Bill and Ted movies, especially the first one.
Yeah.
And the fact that they finally have done it, because I met Alex Winter about 10 years ago and asked him about it, and he said that it just wasn't lining up. So I'm glad it lined up.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and you both. I think it'll be some good closure if it is closure. I think it's going to be good.
I hope so. I think so too. You know what? I'm gonna like it no matter what because I'm a fan of the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. And the stuff he's done. Everybody just remembers Bill and Ted, but Lost Boys,
Yeah,
Freaks was such a neat movie. I love that movie.
I
And
don't even know if I've seen Freaks. Lost Boys definitely I have because I was in it like an extra in Lost Boys,
hmm
and I was very good friends with Brooke McCarter, who died a couple of years ago, who played Paul, one of the other vampires,
hmm
and Corey Feldman, Corey Haim. I don't know, Chance, the guy who played the little young, the young
Letty.
Letty. I couldn't think
Yep.
of the name. The guy who plays Letty. So like, I've known them all, and I think it's a phenomenal movie. And Joel Schumacher, I think he just died
hmm
real recently, like in the last week or two, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Lost Boys is a freaking awesome movie.
It isn't a soundtrack on it. I mean, just they mixed everything. The music, the vibe of the movie, everything just came
Oh yeah,
together
I know
so
G. Tom
great.
Mack really well too. He's the one who does the "Cry Little Sister" song, and I'm pretty good friends with him too.
Sweet. But yeah, that
That's so funny. Until you start talking about things, you don't even realize how many people you know.
yeah, exactly. Exactly, and it's funny because, like I say, that movie, everything just came together perfectly, and it just has that vibe to it that if you watch it once, you'll watch it 100 times.
Absolutely, and I
Yeah.
have.
And I know they did the sequels. I never could really get into the sequels.
The sequels sucked.
Yeah,
They were terrible.
yeah, and I can't remember which one it was that really pissed me off because they said it was going to have Haim in it again, and the only thing he was in was like a scene at the end of it where it didn't even show him really well, and
You see,
that
I don't
just
even. Those two are so bad. I don't even remember them.
yeah, that's the only thing I remember from that one. I'm like, really, and
Somebody needs to do a real sequel, like a really good one, and or reboot the whole franchise if they were going to do that with new nowadays actors,
yeah,
um, and make a really cool one. I think that would be a lot of fun.
yeah. If the right person did it, that's the
Yeah, it
key.
has to be the right person. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't really like all the remakes. I go see all of them. I'm not a huge fan of it because I think there's so many writers in Hollywood that you could get, new things, but everybody's afraid to try, a new thing, so they always keep going back to these old ones. So I'm not a huge fan of the whole remake thing. Um, uh, but I think I would like to do the Lost Boy. I mean, I think if somebody gave me money and stuff, I would love to like actually like do it and redo it. But in general, I'm not a fan of remakes.
no, I like the originals on most things. My kids, when I mention Footloose, they will go grab the new one, which is an okay movie. But
I never even saw the new one because I
Kevin,
didn't want to see it. But
yeah,
Kevin Bacon is
Kevin
Footloose.
Bacon and Chris Penn, come on. You
Yeah,
know,
that's Footloose.
yeah, that's it exactly.
Nowadays, those kids nowadays don't even know who they are really.
Yeah, and it kind of breaks my heart, because I'll play some of the old music, from I say old from my generation, and they'll just kind of look at me. They listen to K-pop now, which nothing wrong with it. It's their thing, just like my parents probably didn't like my music, but come on, listen to my stuff too. They call my stuff old man music, and it's Metallica and Kid Rock and things like that. And I'm like, how is that old man music?
I love Kid Rock. I used to when I was a clothing designer. I made a red leather jacket for him,
Nice.
and I love Kid Rock,
Mm,
especially back when Joe C was alive.
yeah,
I think his name's Joe C, but
yeah, that was him.
he was freaking awesome. And he has that one song where Joe C does the rap in the middle, and I used to listen to it over and over and over and over. I was just like, oh my god, I love this song so much.
Yeah, yeah, and it kills me. They don't even give the old music a chance. Which my youngest daughter will, but my oldest daughter just nope. She's 19 and she's got her thing, and She'll buy what's called light. They call them light sticks now. For me, a light stick's that thing you bend and it pops and little light comes out.
That's what
Basically,
I thought it was. What is it?
these are glorified flashlights.
Oh, okay.
And
See, I don't even know what that is. Okay, I don't have any kids. I mean, I have stepdaughters, but they're like old,
yeah,
because Ron's older. So my stepdaughters are in their late 40s and early 50s.
yeah, yeah. She's got tickets. Finally got tickets to a show from BTS. Finally got on the list for the early purchase and all that, and actually got tickets. And COVID hit, so we're gonna blame this on her because she finally got her dream ticket
Yeah.
and just caused a pandemic.
Yeah, see, I can't do the whole like. I mean, I understand it, and it's all different, but for me, the K-pop thing just doesn't work for me. And I get all different kinds of music, and I listen to a lot of nowadays music, but I don't really get the whole BTS thing. But I see it's huge. I mean, now you go to the mall. If you go to a mall and they have K-pop stores selling K-pop stuff,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like the new version of like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Yeah, and I love making her mad because I'll ask her, "Do you speak Korean?" And she'll say, "No." I'm like, well, how do you know they're not singing to you about soup? And that really pisses her off so bad. Like they're not singing
I
about soup.
basically I listen to Spotify a lot when I'm working, and uh, and probably like 75% of the time I listen to stuff that's even before me because I listen to hits of the 70s, which in the 70s, I was 6 years old when the 70s first came around. But I listened to all kinds of 70s rock and stuff just because I like it a lot. Or I listen to a lot of like Elton John because I've dressed him and I like him a lot, or Rod Stewart, and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty mellow. Like to listen to kind of like mellow stuff because I'm getting old.
Yeah, I feel your pain on that one. That is so awesome that you have dressed Elton John. That is so cool because I'm sure that was such an easy job. You
Oh,
know,
it was a blast.
oh man, I
It
love
was a
him.
blast, and then he like brought me, into his dressing room. So we were hanging out in his dressing room. It was a blast. I have to say, I've been super fortunate to do a lot of extremely cool things that other people don't get a chance to do. I went to a costume party once, and um, uh, the celebrity guest of the party uh, needed to get it dressed, so like I brought a bunch of stuff for him, and I dressed John Singleton when he was doing Too Fast, Too Furious in Miami,
Nice.
and I was the costume designer on it. So then I got to do that, and I've been really really lucky. I've had a lot of fun. I've dressed almost every major horror movie star, and that for me has always been my big things that I enjoy a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my goals, I want to get the Jasons on here. I've emailed back and forth with Kane Hodder some, and he's my favorite Jason.
He's a good friend of mine.
And the bad,
Matter of fact, I'm doing a movie with him right now. I'm producing a movie that he's going to star in.
oh man, the bad part was, his manager sent me an email back, said because he's got his own podcast right now, contractually he can't be on any others. I'm like, oh crap. But I understand. I mean, it is what it is. But
Yeah, I didn't even know. I didn't even know he had a podcast.
yeah, yeah, he's got one, and it's actually pretty good. I've listened to a couple episodes, but I've gotten to where about the only time I'm able to listen is whenever I'm in my car because I'm usually either recording or editing now.
Right.
And
He's a very cool guy though. He wrote a good book too. I have his book. He sent me a copy of his book. But he's a really cool guy, and I've got two horror movies that I'm working on. One's like a kids horror movie, and one's like a horror movie, and he's gonna be in both of them.
oh, outstanding, outstanding. Yeah, and have you seen his documentary?
Yeah.
That is, man, I learned so much about. I didn't know he'd been burned.
Yes.
And I'm like you. I love horror. I tell you, I've been trying. I tried to get Elvira, and she's just so busy right now with the pandemic. She's filming so many things. I mean, she has a daily video just about on Instagram and things like that. So she's been tied up and hadn't been able to do anything. But
She's really nice too. I went to dinner one time with her, Gary Busey. There was a whole bunch of us, and we went to dinner one time. It was great.
you had me at Busey.
Oh,
Oh
Oh,
man.
I know Gary and Jake.
Oh man. I Jake's awesome too. I just watched him in Starship Troopers.
I just watched that too last week. It was on. They put it on Netflix now,
Yeah,
and so I watched it.
it's like Tourette's. If I'm flipping through Netflix or Amazon or anything and I see it, no matter what I'm looking for, I've got to watch it.
No, I love that movie. I just watched it too. That's funny.
Yeah, but he would be. I think he would be fun. But Gary, I bet that would be one roller coaster of an episode. That would be one for the books.
Absolutely. I was at a convention and I dressed him for some of his appearances at a convention that we were at, and so I got to hang out with him a whole bunch. And he's really fun.
Yeah.
He's really fun. And he's a really good actor. I mean, he's an Academy Award. I don't know if he won an Academy Award, but he's definitely a nominee. So he's like a big deal, and like I said, I've been really fortunate. To do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I went to Halloween Horror Nights with Jason Mewes one time.
Oh man. He would be fun.
I don't know. Yeah, I really. There's this great convention in Orlando called Spooky Empire. When I lived in Florida, I would go to it. They do two of them a year. One of them's at Halloween and one of them's in May. And we would go every year and hang out with everybody, and we had a blast.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, that whole, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, that whole universe is just it's one of my favorites. Kevin Smith is an inspiration to me. You've probably seen my videos where everything I do on my video it's not even a shoestring budget; it's a Velcro budget.
Yeah.
And Clerks helped me do that because, hell, he sold his comic book collection and used his credit card. And look at it now. And I'm so excited Clerks 3 is being made. Oh, man, that tickles me.
I've had both of them on our show. And when I lived in Pennsylvania, we went to New Jersey to go to his comic book shops just so I could go and see it.
Oh, man, I would love to do that. I'm actually working on a couple of people from there. And if I ever get Kevin Smith on the show, it'll be my last podcast because I don't know where I could go from there. It would all be downhill for me.
He's fun. We had him on many, many, many years ago. I had them on when I met them in a convention. So I can't say I'm really friends with them, but I can say I know them.
If he knows you, you're his friend still.
And we had a blast though. And now I have, I think I might have Brian O'Halloran coming on.
Yeah.
My show next week.
He's not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah, I know. He's got a new movie coming out, I think, and so the people from the movie, the guy who directed it and wrote it, I think, asked me if they could come on. So I think they might be coming on next week.
Oh, that will be awesome. I've heard he is such a great guy and a really good interview too.
Yeah, I've had him on before, but it was such a long time ago. It was actually pre-Ron, so it was a really long time ago.
Oh man. Oh, and he's gonna get to meet Ron. Oh hell. he does not know what he's in for.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
We always have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. I know I listened to your episode with Think a couple of weeks ago, and man, that
we love
group,
Scott Page.
Oh man. I know I went to the Zoom concert that we did, and when Eileen told me about it, she said, Scott's having a concert, here's the link. It's not don't share it. And I said, okay. And the concert came up, and I'm like, I don't even know who he's going to be playing with, but it's Scott Page. You don't not click that link. And I clicked it, and I looked up. I saw Derek. I saw, Kenny Olson,
Stephen
Fishbone.
Perkins.
Yeah, Stephen Perkins. I'm like, holy
Jane's
crap.
Addiction.
Yeah. And I'm like,
see, I take all that stuff for granted, I guess, because all those guys are my friends, so I'm so used to it. I've seen them play like 50 times.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal. They're all great musicians, and they're all, played with like some of the biggest bands on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nobody on there that's not on my playlist in some form or fashion.
Yeah, I was a huge Jane's Addiction fan.
Yeah. And the neat thing about some of the musicians that I've been doing, if you first say their name to people, they're like, that name's familiar, but I'm not sure. And then you can say a song or something like that, and they're like, that's my favorite part of this song, or man, I love that. And to me, it brings a spotlight out on people who, may not be the front man, but they're a huge part of the band, and they need to be recognized. And I love being able to do that.
I agree with you 100%.
And like when I interviewed Kenny Aronoff, two of my favorite songs ever, Jack and Diane and Blaze of Glory, the drum fills in those. Talking to him, and he sang me the drum fills, and I'm like, holy shit, is this really happening?
Yeah, Kenny Aronoff's a big deal.
Yeah, big time, And I watched a video where he was in concert, and they were introducing him, and they said, Kenny Aronoff, or as I say, Kenny Earnoff. He's everywhere. And he is, man. He is constantly moving.
Yeah, he played with Lady Gaga. I mean, he's played with like everybody.
Yeah, I said the list of people he hadn't played with is 100 times shorter than the list of people that he has.
Yep, you're right.
But man, I tell you, Jimmy, I've enjoyed the hell out of this, man. And you're welcome on here anytime.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's all fun and games. I'm probably going back to bed.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain, man. I appreciate you getting up this early. Man, the time difference still messes with me some, because sometimes I'll have somebody in California and I'll be up at like 10 o'clock at night interviewing, and it's just really strange sometimes. And then I forget on the other hand, okay, it's 10 o'clock in the morning here. I'm up, I'm moving around, and it was 7 there.
Yeah, see, if it was a weekday, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But it's Sunday. It's the one day I sleep, so I'm going back to bed.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. Well, everybody, check out JimmyStarsWorld.com and make sure you check out the show.
Absolutely. But there's a tab for that on the website, too, to find out more information. But we're Wednesdays from 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time on W4CY.com.
Outstanding.